We will begin this meeting of the Unsafe Building Commission for Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. Can we have the roll call, please?
Dwayne Heater.
Here.
Diane Whitehead.
Here.
Thank you. And we have the minutes from last meeting. Do we have any questions?
If there are no questions or comments, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the Tuesday, August 20th meeting.
I second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Do we have a proof of publication?
Yes, and actually this sort of ties in with the FYI portion of new business for October. There is no one in the audience from the public, but we had thought that we were going to have 4 properties on for today at 1021 Butler Street, 1226 Butler Street, 1505 North J Street, and 218 North 20th. So those were also published, but they're going to be held until the October meeting. So otherwise, we do have a proof of publication that contains the hearings for the properties for the rest of the items on today's agenda. And this notice was published in advance. It states the time, date, place, and the items on the agenda. So I would ask the board to make a motion to accept the proof of publication.
I make a motion that we accept the proof of publication.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Anybody that's going to speak on the property today, please be sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, no old business. We have new business. For October, we will we have 4 properties already set up for October. So we will handle those next month, and we'll probably add to those, I suspect.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. Okay, so the first property is at 64 Northwest G Street. It's a demo of a house and a garage. Inspector Sherry?
Okay, 64 Northwest G Street is owned by Ruth Ann Miller. This property has severe structural damage. The foundation is poor, and the back of the property is caving in. The property is located within 3 blocks of a public park and a community food bank. The property's had over 7 enforcement violations written up on the property and shows signs of lead-based paint, mold, and asbestos. The property hasn't had water since 8/3 of 2020 or electric since 7/8 of 2022. The house was built in 1870 and has $2,625.78 currently due in property taxes. As you can see here, there are some broken windows on the south side of the property. There's some broken and missing siding. Look at the back of the house and see that it is almost about to collapse. And there's mold and moss growing on here. There's also tree limbs that need to be removed. This property has been neglected for years. Like I said before, it hasn't had utilities in several years. So I respectfully ask the Unsafe Building Commission to make a motion to affirm the order to demolish the house and garage and to remove the tree limbs located at 64 Northwest G Street, Richmond, Indiana.
Do we have anybody here to speak on this property? No? And I think you told me I have to say that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
good.
you.
I just want to make sure.
Thank you.
Okay. You never know, somebody might come in. Excuse me. Any questions?
Nope. Ready?
Okay. I make a motion to adopt the statements of the enforcement authority as the findings of the commission based on the evidence and testimony, and to affirm the submitted order and for the order to become a continuous enforcement order.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. The next property is at 110 North 17th Street. It is a demo of a house Inspector Ritchie.
This property is owned by Max Land Trust, Inc. This property has had some major repairs needed and also restoration of the utilities. It has missing doors and windows, overgrown vegetation, and is a nuisance to the neighborhood. RPD has been called to this property several times for squatters being in the house. The property is located within a few blocks from Star School and Glen Miller Park. The property was boarded up by Inspector Bill Henry back in 2022 and has been written up for code violations over 18 times since 2020. The property has signs of lead-based paint, mold, and asbestos, and the property hasn't had water or electric since 11/16 of 2020, and this house was built in 1920. So as you can see, there was trash and debris in the backyard. The property shows signs of neglect and peeling paint. There's missing windows on the south side of the property and in the back. Overgrown grass that you can see on the west side of the property. I respectfully ask the Unsafe Building Commission to make a motion to affirm the order to demolish the house located at 110 North 17th Street, Richmond, Indiana.
Thank you. Is there anybody here to speak on the property at 110 North 17th Street? We need to swear you in first.
Will you please come to the podium and raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Please state your name.
My name is Gavin Radlin.
Gavin Redlin?
Radlin.
Redlin, okay. So you're here to speak on the property at 110 North 17th?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead.
We purchased this at a county tax auction. I believe it was in the middle of April or the middle of May.
It's got down that the property, this is
Yeah.
owned by Max Land Trust?
Yes.
Is that you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we bought it, I think it was either the middle of April, is correct?
April this year?
Yes.
Okay.
At the Wayne County tax auction. And we immediately began to fix the property up, beginning with the lawn. A couple weeks after purchasing it, I went by and I saw that there was a flag on the lawn that the grass was too long. So the same or the next day, I hired a company who's been maintaining the lawn since then. And a couple of weeks later, I hired contractors to renovate the property, and that's been ongoing since early May of this year.
What kind of things have you done to the property?
Have gone through and replaced sewer pipes, other minor plumbing repairs. I'm in the process of putting in a new kitchen now, have redone the floors. Installed smoke alarms. I had an electrician come out and he went all through it and made sure that everything is up to code. Then the city came out and did an electrical inspection. The gas came out and they checked that the gas lines are all safe. All the utilities have been turned on and tested. We've painted, fixed all the drywall, made it in pretty good condition. I would say now it's 90%. I'm here to see it today, later on today. Based on the pictures, it appears to be about 90% of the way complete and ready to rent out. I did call when I got this letter to try and figure out what is the main complaint here, so I could have the work.
Did you talk to somebody?
He spoke to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Go ahead.
And it wasn't 100% clear to me what the main complaint was. If it were, I would have fixed that first.
Well, I did tell you that you needed to repair the windows, remember?
Yes.
I stated to you that you needed to work on the outside of the property.
Right.
So I did tell you that.
Yes, I recall that. And since we've spoken, I had an initial cleanup crew that they removed all kinds of stuff from the inside and outside. After we spoke, I sent someone there to get the remaining debris outside in the yard.
Okay.
And I purchased windows. The issue with the windows is that it's an older home and the size is, they're all non-standard. And it was quite an ordeal to actually get windows that fit. And I knew that, I suspected that that was the issue. I did bring some documentation showing when I started to quote the windows and the amounts of time that it has taken to actually receive them. They were picked up by my contractor yesterday morning, and he's installing them.
Oh, he's installing them right
Yes,
now?
as we speak.
Okay.
What all,
So there's,
sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
there are 5 windows that needed repairing. The rest are okay. And all the windows that are okay, the boards have been removed and they've been cleaned. But those 5 windows, they needed, we kept the boards on because to keep the property secure. They're broken glass.
Yeah, Inspector Ritchie,
Yeah.
does that concur with your findings that there's
I have-
5 windows? The 5 windows need to be fixed?
I'd have to count the windows,
Okay,
but, because the boards were on them, so at that point, because, like I told you, that Mr. Henry had the whole thing boarded up because there were squatters
That was in
there.
2022, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's partly
Yeah.
why it's become so urgent, because before you got into it,
Yeah.
it had been, so they've seen it in disrepair for quite a long time. And that's just very important for you to continue to communicate with Inspector Ritchie.
I
And
will.
make sure you,
Yeah.
And I did tell him that I was going to go ahead and affirm the order because
Mm-hmm.
we do have people who purchase properties and then they sometimes don't
Right.
end up finishing.
Yeah, that's
repairing them,
unfortunate, yeah.
Or they end up selling it to someone else and then I have to start all over again.
because it looks like it's
That's why.
been sold several times
Yeah.
over the years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we appreciate you working on taking care of it. And it sounds like, what else needs to be fixed on it? Have you communicated that?
Just from the pictures that I had
Mm-hmm.
sent, I think the only thing now, I believe, is the windows.
Okay.
So
So once he gets the windows fixed, then it's okay?
I believe so, but I would need to go back
Okay,
by and
yeah.
inspect the outside of the property.
Okay. So you do understand, she's going to go and re-inspect it, and then she'll let you know if there's anything else needs to be done. It's all safety issues is what we're concerned about here.
Right.
Could we, I guess depending on what sort of progress they can make with the windows, I think it's going to take more than 2 days, but if it's possible to have that done by, say, this Thursday, would it be possible to do the inspection? The reason I ask is that's how long I'm in town for.
Sure, if they can get it done, because you have 30 days from today's date of
Yeah.
the order to
It-
get it repaired anyway.
About 4 minutes from this building. So
Right.
Yeah. Where do you
I'm in
reside?
Florida.
Florida? Okay.
Yeah. So, that's, any other questions? I did bring documentation showing that we ordered the windows and took delivery, and I have lots of before and after pictures if you need anything more.
You just, you
Yeah.
two will communicate.
After
Okay.
this.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, yeah, that would be really good if you got it, if that was done before you left, so that
Would like
way-
that, yes.
Yeah, so, but work with Inspector Ritchie, please.
okay,
I will
Thank
see
you very much.
after the meeting is over.
okay,
You do have her number. He has your number? Okay.
yeah,
Okay, good.
okay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you working on this place. It's been a,
Are you going to stick around because there's some information you would need after they take a vote? If
Yeah, we have-
If you're not going to stick around, I can tell you right now.
This is my first meeting. It doesn't look like there's a lot of people, so I
Right.
might as well stick around.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, we need to vote on this.
Okay.
We'll basically, yeah, let us vote and then,
And then I'll give you the
Kim,
information.
give you
Sounds
some.
good.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Is there anybody else here to speak on this property? Anything, you want to add anything?
No?
Okay.
Okay.
We have anything else from the Assistant City Attorney?
No, not until after the vote.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead. You want to make a motion?
Okay, so we will probably affirm this order, but as long as you work with Inspector Ritchie, it won't go any further.
That's why.
We're just going to affirm it so that if nothing else happens, she doesn't have to come before this board again.
Yeah.
It's just a formality.
Is there anything I need to do to?
No.
Once
We'll
we have to make the motion, and then at that point.
As long as you're
then
working
Kim-
with
then the
Ms. Ritchie,
Assistant City
you're
Attorney has some
fine.
information that she needs to share, but she's waiting for us to make the motion. So,
I make a motion to adopt the statements of the Enforcement Authority as the findings of the commission based on the evidence and testimony, and to affirm the submitted order and for the order to become a continuous enforcement order for the property located 110 North 17th.
I second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. And that's the purpose of the continuous enforcement order. That way, you can continue to work with, but Assistant City Attorney?
Okay, and so legally, what you guys said was correct, that this order is giving 30 days, but the continuous enforcement order lets them monitor beyond the 30 days. It's up to a 2-year period, but it's 30 days where there's an expectation for the current owner to do what he needs to do. And then there's a continual monitoring period in case, again, if a property's been sold multiple times, we don't want to have to keep coming back. She doesn't want to have to keep coming back. So there is a 10-day appeal period. So even though this was affirmed, it was affirmed for a 30-day order, which gives you up to 30 days to continue the work that you've obviously been doing. And so you have a 10-day appeal period if you feel that this order was, needs to be reviewed by a court. You would have 10 days under Indiana Code 36-7-9 to appeal or ask for a judicial review, a petition for judicial review with the courts. So that is a 10-day appeal period. But again, the order itself is a 30-day appeal, or I'm sorry, a 30-day period to do that. But as long as you're continuing to work on it, we're just going to monitor it for up to 2 years. And I suspect you might even hand this back to Inspector Henry so that you can focus on other properties. But that might be something that you communicate with the
Yeah,
with the
just make sure you
property owner.
communicate with
So-
this gentleman. if
Do you have any
that would
questions
happen.
about that?
So after I fixed the windows and brought the property up to code, it still stays there for 2 years and then it just automatically drops off, or
After 2 years, it expires.
it expires?
Yes.
There's really nothing else that I need to do besides fix the windows and make sure that nothing else happens?
That'd be I'm not clear on that piece. If Inspector Ritchie says, okay, everything's good, is it still in force?
It stays on the books, it stays on the record, unless he or a future owner were to go and quiet the title, or unless the city is asked to release it. We don't often release those types of things unless there's a clear indication that it's purchased by someone who is definitely maintaining and it's an occupied property, it's being taken care of, it's not being, abandoned or neglected again, and again, this is nothing against the current owner, it's just the history and the way some of these things sometimes happen.
Yeah.
So,
Many times we have people that don't follow through and don't do what they say, but as long as you do and you communicate with Inspector Ritchie, you'll be fine.
yeah, but let's just say something happens to you and you just decide to leave the property alone and not do anything with it. Let's just say you just decide that on your own free will. The next person who comes in and buy it, we've got this order on the books so that if they let it go, we don't have to come back for another hearing.
But
Okay.
if I would want to sell it, is there any drawback to having such an order? It seems like it's,
The buyer, purchaser would have to take that into account, that this is a recorded order. And it's been recorded. It was recorded, before they mailed it out, I believe. So once this is recorded, that does put the purchasing world on notice that, hey, there is a problem with this property that has been alerted to the city.
July
But-
10th.
July 10th.
Basically means they got to maintain it. If they maintain it like what you're doing, then nobody's going to complain.
I haven't made up my mind, I may keep it another 10 years, but you don't want there to be a negative on there in the event you do want to sell it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if say, I fix everything and half a year goes by, I'd be able to come back and ask that the order be removed, or?
That could certainly be entertained, yes. That would be entertained internally. It wouldn't necessarily be a hearing, but it would be something that the administration and the city and the mayor and the law department would definitely entertain, yes.
Thank you very much. And then that's all we have. If you're welcome to stay and listen to the next properties, but that's all we're going to do with your property.
For
Okay.
my education, I'd like to.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay. The next property is at 215 Northwest K Street. It's a demo of a house. Inspector Ritchie.
Okay, 215 Northwest K Street is owned by Jeanette Collins and Robert and Sandra Collins. This property has severe structural damage and restoration of utilities. The property has missing doors and windows, holes in the foundation, peeling paint, overgrown vegetation, broken glass, and trash throughout the property, and is a nuisance to the neighborhood. The property is located within 1 block of West Side Lions Park and within walking distance to Fairview School. This property has been written up 12 times since 2020 and shows signs of lead-based paint, mold, and asbestos. The property hasn't had water or electric since June 24th of 2019. The house was built in 1930, and there are currently $2,440.00 due in property taxes. So as you can see, there's missing windows, broken windows, peeling paint. There's nails sticking out of the wood of the planks on the porch and trash on the porch. See, there's holes right here in the foundation, holes in the porch roof. Falling gutters here. You can see, obviously, all the peeling paint. See in the back, there's trash also back here, and some broken glass right here, holes in the deck. Missing soffit on the south side of the property. I respectfully ask that the Unsafe Building Commission make a motion to affirm the order to demolish the house, porch, and back deck located at 215 Northwest K Street, Richmond, Indiana.
Questions? We have anybody here to speak on the property at 215 Northwest K Street? Okay, let's see. I make a motion to adopt the statements of the Enforcement Authority as the findings of the commission based on the evidence and testimony, and to affirm the submitted order and for the order to become a continuous enforcement order for the property at 215 Northwest K Street.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. The next property is at 423 Northwest E Street. It's a demo of a house and a garage. Inspector Ritchie.
423 Northwest E Street is owned by Donald H. Tipton. This property has structural damage and also restoration of utilities. The front porch is pulling away from the house. It has missing and broken windows, holes in the foundation, peeling paint, and brush piles. There have been 8 enforcement violations on this property, and it is an overall nuisance to the neighborhood. The property is located within walking distance to dentist school. The property has signs of lead-based paint, mold, and asbestos. The property hasn't had water since 12/31 of 2013 or electric since 3/25 of 2024. The house was built in 1900, and there are currently $1,291.83 due in property taxes. You can see here, there's missing windows and the gutters separating. The porch roof is separating from the house. There are signs of deterioration of the ceiling of the porch roof here. There's a brush on the front porch. Again, more broken windows on the east side of the property. South side of the property, there's holes in the foundation. There's rotted steps going up to the second floor. Holes in the foundation in the back on the south side of the property. And here's the rear of the property. You can see this deteriorated shed. And again, more brush and limbs in the back. I respectfully ask the Unsafe Building Commission to make a motion to affirm the order to demolish the house, back steps, and remove the shed and any brush from the property located at 423 Northwest E Street, Richmond, Indiana.
Questions? Do we have anybody here to speak on the property at 423 Northwest E Street? Okay.
Make a motion to adopt the statements of the Enforcement Authority as the findings of the commission based on the evidence and testimony, and to affirm the submitted order and for the order to become a continuous enforcement order for the property at 423 Northwest E Street.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. The next property is 1030 South 8th Street. It's a demo of a house and a garage. Inspector Ritchie?
Okay, 1030 South 8th Street is owned by 1030 South 8th Street LLC. This property has severe structural damage to the front porch, holes in the roof on the back or the west side of the house. The property has fire damage, missing and unsecured windows, peeling paint, missing siding, and the front porch could collapse in the near future due to the maintenance neglect of said property. The property has 5 enforcement violations written against it and is a nuisance to the neighborhood. The property is located within 1 block from Hibbard School. The property has signs of lead-based paint, mold, and asbestos. The property hasn't had water since 12/31 of 2013, so well over 10 years, and the house was built in 1920. I would also like to state that this property has changed hands several times. Anytime I try to work with an owner, they end up selling it, and then I have to keep going through this process. So this is the east side of the property. This was from January of 2023, and there was fire damage here. You can see where the front porch roof is collapsing right there. This window has been unsecured and open with the elements of, the rain, snow, everything, able to get in there. Nothing has really changed. There's fire damage over here too, but you can see from this being in January of 2023 and this being in August, same issue, just keeps continuing to deteriorate.
People just keep, would you know that people keep buying this place? Is it just people that aren't or don't have the means or the ability to?
I'm not sure why. I've had a couple of people tell me that, they had like companies working with them to fix it. And then when I talk to those people, then they say that the owners, tell them they don't have the money. And then that person leaves and doesn't do the work.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you can see this
A lot of
siding
that,
is
yeah.
falling off and there's fire damage, again, to that porch. There's also, we've had to have somebody come and cut the grass because they haven't been cutting the grass also. Again, still see the open windows. And in here in the back.
Have you secured this before?
No, I've never had to secure this property
Okay.
because the windows are high up, so.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But there's holes in the roof, there's missing siding on the south side, or I'm sorry, the west side of the property. As you can see, that there's a huge hole right here and there.
And since this is on recording, that's holes in the roof.
Yes, holes in the roof, sorry, holes in the roof, yes. And you can see there's missing soffit and stuff right here that's rotted in the back by the garage. Like I said, this property is just not being maintained at all. So I respectfully ask the Unsafe Building Commission to make a motion to affirm the order to demolish the house and the garage located at 1030 South 8th Street, Richmond, Indiana.
You have any questions?
No.
Okay. Do we have anybody here to speak on the property at 1030 South 8th Street? Okay. I think it's your turn.
I did the last one.
Okay, thank you.
I'll do it.
I make a motion to adopt the statements of the Enforcement Authority as the findings of the commission based on the evidence and testimony to affirm the submitted order and for the order to become a continuous enforcement order for the property at 1030 South 8th Street. Okay, thank you. Well, maybe I missed some.
No, I was
You're good.
daydreaming.
Yeah. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. And we have one last property at 1704 North J Street. It's a demo of a house and fencing. Inspector Ritchie?
Okay, 1704 North J Street. This property is owned by Mary Ryle. I'm not 100% sure, but one day the neighbor came out and told me that he believed she was deceased. As you can see from this picture alone, you can't even see the house from the street because the vegetation is so overgrown. That alone is a safety hazard. Let's just say someone was in there and the fire department needed to get in there, or, an ambulance. So this property has severe structural damage to the back porch, falling bricks around the front porch, peeling paint, broken fencing, and vegetation, again, that is so overgrown you can't see the house from the street. The property is located within a few blocks from the Townsend Center, the Riverside Heritage Trail, and is a nuisance to the neighborhood. The property has signs of lead-based paint, mold, and asbestos. The property hasn't had water since February 16th of 2017, and electric since May 23rd of 2019. The house was built in 1940, and there are currently $413.38 due in property taxes. So here you can see in this picture to the left, there's broken fencing on the gate. These bricks right here have fallen on part of the front porch. There's peeling paint on the west side of the property. In the back, on the back porch, you can see that is deteriorated and that's about to fall or cave in. And on the north side of the property, there's junk and debris in the backyard. So I respectfully ask the Unsafe Building Commission to make a motion to affirm the order to demolish the house, fencing, and overgrown vegetation located at 1704 North J Street, Richmond, Indiana.
Have any questions? Is there anybody here to speak on the property at 1704 North J Street? Okay.
I make a motion to adopt the statement of the Enforcement Authority as the findings of the commission based on the evidence and testimony, and to affirm the submitted order and for the order to become a continuous enforcement order for the property located at 1704 North J Street.
A second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Have anything else? Okay.
Make
Do
a
I have-
motion to adjourn.
Okay, I second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for everybody that came. Thank you.